Hey guys, Paul Getty's here. Getting ready to do a Lowrance tips and tricks. We're going to do a live setup, basically initial setup of how you should set your units up and how you can pretty much tweak them for your best performance all the way through. What we're going to do is we're going to give it just a few minutes for everyone to join and a few guys to get on here, and then we're going to start. So we're going to give it just a few minutes to make sure everybody's going good and go from there. While we're waiting, I want to give a big shout out to Lowrance and try to get a few more shout outs in there. Lowrance is really taking care of me this year, and we want to try to go ahead and get a big thank you out to them, Hunters Headquarters, all my other sponsors. That is really High Seas Fishing Line. Sean Carpenter has went basically far and few. I mean, he's jumped over hills for me this year and really taking care of me. Dave Davis from Cross Industries is really this truck build I've been working on has just been mind-boggling with all the stuff that we've got going on with it, and it is actually a crazy build, but it has turned out absolutely great. So with a few guys jumping on here, looks like we've got 30 guys on here. What we're going to do is we're going to jump up in the boat, and I'm going to take you through an initial setup. One more company I want to really thank is Hunters Headquarters. George and Cindy and Greg Hughes is already really, taking care of me. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump on here and get it started. I'm going to flip you around. Let me lower the brightness here a little bit. See if that helps. Alright, so this will work for Lowrance Gen 2 Touch, any HDS system basically that you've got. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go through, and we're going to go through a little quick setup as if you're just getting it out of the box. So my initial setup, basically what you're going to do is you're going to go to Pages, Settings, Advanced, and once you go in and go to Advanced, this is sort of I guess you would say some of the little tweaks that I make change. On the user interface, you want to go to the auto hide menu, and what that's going to basically do is that's going to take, after 15 seconds of your menu being up on the screen, it's going to automatically hide it. So it's going to actually slide it away and give you more screen room. Once you get out of that, you're still in settings. If you go to sonar and you want to go to fishing mode, if you're like me, most guys fish 80 foot or less. You need to, basically on your fishing mode, you need to be on shallow water, and that usually covers everything that we're doing. Even if you're drop shotting in 80 foot of water, shallow water, you're going to get a better response and a better all-around reading, and a bottom reading from your transducer. On your installation, depending on, which transducer you're running, if you're running a in-hole transducer, it's going to be the PDR-TL. If you're running a 83-200, which is an outside the hole skimmer transducer, it's going to be an HST-WSBL. So depending on which one you're running, it's going to either be the PDR-TL or the HST-WSTL. I'm actually running two of the transducers. I've got an in-hole I run on my left 12, and I've got an outer hole, pretty much skimmer transducer, that I actually run on the outside of my hole. Just because I want to see the difference, and I like looking at different frequencies, that's very close. Once you've got that, you go in and hit save. One of the tweaks that I do for the sonar, if you go to a full page of sonar, one of the things, when you go to menu and you go to your frequency, so the easy way to think about frequency is the lower the number is the wider the cone. So if you put your transducer on 83 kilohertz, you're basically looking about 2 widths of your boat. And when you're looking 2 widths of your boat, yes, you're going to see more fish, but what you have to remember is you're actually not going to get the detail that you would. So if you go back up and you go back to your frequency and you change to 200, 200 is going to be about the width of the rear end of your boat, but you're going to get more detailed and more pretty much, separation whenever you're actually looking at the fish. Now, those guys that have the newer systems like myself and a bunch of other guys on here that's getting the Gen 3s, Gen 2s, that's got the chirp systems, the medium chirp and the high chirp. The medium chirp is really for if you're in a real dense tree, stumps, any kind of structure that you want that fish to really stand out above, away from the structure. If you're on a bunch of rocks and you actually see, you can't tell whether it's fish, whether it's some type of structure, whether it's a bunch of trees, submerged trees. One of our lakes, or two of our lakes around here, is really Lake Hartwell, Lake Russell. Got a bunch of trees in it, and really, once you get down to about 40, 50 feet, if you're drop shotting or doing, a lot of people can't really tell, what the difference is. With the medium and the high chirp, it really sets them apart. For general everyday use, I run 200 kilohertz on both units, all 3 units, all the time. I really never have a problem with them interfering. I know I get questions every day of the week about, man, you don't never get any interference. I'm always getting interference. No, I don't never get any interference because we've got them set up properly. If you're running multiple transducers, which everybody is, one of the other things when you go into your sonar setup is you want to make sure, that your ping speed and everything else is, set up properly so they're not pinging at the same time, and you'll get a whole lot better feedback. But I'm going to go ahead and go through your basic setup. So on your sonar, your noise rejection should be on low. That was that automatic high that I just showed you. Your noise rejection should be on low. Surface clarity on medium. Your scroll speed on normal. And then whatever ping speed you have this unit set on, if this unit is set on max, your other unit needs to be set on 18 or 19. It does not be on the same frequency. And what that does is that eliminates a lot of interference. So once we go back there, sensitivity is something that I play with a lot. For an everyday use to eliminate some craziness, go to A-2 or A-1. It eliminates a lot of bubbles, a lot of trash, stuff you really don't need to see. If you're going to be drop shotting, you can keep it on auto +1. If you know how to read the graph and you don't want to get confused, auto +1, even auto or auto -1. That's something I tweak throughout the day, and that keeps going up and down, left and right, depending on what kind of fishing I'm doing. Most of the time I am, beating the bank. If I'm over 7 or 8 foot, we got a problem. Most of the time, unless it's dead of winter. Now the other thing, that a pallet that I run that seems a lot of the elite guys run, a lot of the FLW guys, that I tweak their boats and they come over, I set up their boats and I get them going. The pallet that I want to run, and everybody should run because it gives you a little bit more detail and you can relate, is on pallet 13. The boat comes with pallet 1. standard, the bottom's yellow, everything else is fine. If you actually go to pallet 13, and what that does is it darkens the bottom. And when you're on normal, everyday, soft bottom, that's fine and dandy. You've got a brown, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit there. So you've got a brown bottom there that you're running. Now, whenever anything actually comes up, like a hard bottom structure, you basically, it changes to yellow, so you have a hard return, and you've got, if it's rocks, it actually turns really green and yellow, so you know you have a super hard return there. So you can pretty much, you know, tell the difference right off the way just by scanning the bottom of what consistency is your bottom. And that, just by choosing that pallet alone, pallet 13, that's exactly pretty much the one that helps you do that. And I'm going to go back a little bit. I skipped over color line. Color line I usually keep on the stock setting of 76. That really doesn't make a whole lot of change. Anything else, you know, when you go back into the view, all here is basically personal preference. You want depth line, if you want the amplitude scope, that's really, sorry guys, I got a text message there. That's what really, you know, just sort of the different tweaks that you can play with left and right. But as far as the basic setup on sonar, that's usually what I run. And I tweak a little bit between the sensitivity, you know, and I may tweak a little here, tweak a little there, but not much. Now, how I get some of the clearest pictures on structure is, this is where the key comes in as far as your structure and tweaking it. On your range, this is on, I run a 3D model, and basically what we're going to do is we're just in standard side now, and you can do this on side or you can do it on down. But when you go to menu, on your range, it really depends, you know, what you're wanting to do. If you're scanning ledges, if you're scanning shallow, if you're scanning pockets, it really depends on what you're wanting to do. If you're actually scanning ledges, what you need to do is you need to set your structure width 3 times your depth and no wider. That'll keep in perspective the size of the fish, and actually keep in perspective of how far, you know, you're looking side to side to make sure, you know, you're not looking 350 feet and you mark this over here and now you're having a problem finding it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the basic setup. So range, if you're scanning a pocket or a creek, I'm usually sitting somewhere around 120 to 140. And the reason I do that is I want to be able to see all the sides. I want to see the sides of the bank. I want to see where it steps down. I want to see absolutely, I'm trying to find a screenshot right here. Okay, this is good here. Okay, so this is on Hartwell. So this is 140 feet out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually zoom in here real close. And I want you to sort of look at the detail once it focuses. If it'll focus. So, and I'll tell you guys where this is at, and it shouldn't be hard to find. This is up 6 and 20 at the first bridge on Hartwell. So when you come right here, you can actually see, you see the rocks, you got your pylon, you've got your, actually, there's a little piece of cement. I don't know if it's going to zoom in for me or not. There you go. But now you can actually see the step down. Pretty much you've got a little steeper bank right here off your riprap, right here where the riprap comes in, and it gets steep, 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 and there's a shallow, shallow. You see the difference in, you got your steps, and then there's a shallow point that comes out there, and it's flat all the way around that side. Now, for the other side over here of what I'm looking at now, I'm on about the second pylon going in here, third pylon maybe. So when you're sitting right here on the center and you're looking over here, you got these little waves right here that you're looking at. And what this is part of an old creek bed right there that's coming in right there on that side. And there's some debris there. It tends to hold fish here and there. But the reason I run that 140 range is I want to be able to see all the sides when I go into a creek, because when I'm going down through here and all this right here, if there's a branch or a tree laying off the edge right here, 9 times out of 10 is they're actually going to be, you know, a fish laying off of that tree. So what I can do if somebody's close is I can mark that, you know, if they're over here, I can mark that. If there's a fish here, I can mark that and I can come back to it. But I want to be able to see the whole screenshot, and I want to see the bank, and I want to see how it steps down, you know, to come back and forth. Sorry guys, I'm getting text messages. Juan Ruiz is blowing me up here. Sorry, let me get this out of here. Okay, we're good. The big thing about that is that gives you the advantage of looking 140 or 160 foot right and left of the boat, and it picking up all the little stuff that everybody else is going over. If you get in there close to the bank, 40 feet off the bank, yeah, you're going to see a little bit more detail, but what that's going to do is you're not going to be able to get all the step down and all the stuff that's coming in, and to see how those fish are relating and holding, you know, to the side over there. And here's a perfect example. I mean, you see it right here as it comes in. You've got your riprap. Sorry if it, there we go. So you got your riprap basically coming in here. You've got your concrete base right here, and then you've got a step. It goes about another 6 foot or so. You've got another drop, and then it's a gradual drop all the way in until you hit the channel over here. But by keeping you, you know, in that 140 to 150 range or 160 range, that's what's going to give you, as far as finding fish, if you're during practice and everything else and you're really scanning, that's really, you know, what you're doing. I don't know why everybody decided to text me tonight, but I'm getting about 15 or 20 while I'm doing this. But sorry for the interruption, guys. But anyway, let's get back to the let me see one more screenshot here. Okay, so let's view this one. Okay, so I'm going to show you one more, and then we'll get back to the setup. Alright, so this is basically 80 foot that I'm actually scanning right and left. And you can sort of see the point over here on the right. There's a lot of rocks, there's a lot of structure off the end of this point. Not right off the end of it, but pretty much right to the top right of it, over here. These are rock piles. Now, I don't know if you guys can see it or not. You probably can't see it because I'm zooming out. So I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit and see if this thing will focus. I don't know if it will or not. Alright, so there we go. So we got a little bit of a focus there. But there's all the rock piles, there's everything else. So that's what I look for, basically. All the structure and everything else like that. That's why I scan such a wide area. Now the other thing that you want to look at too is you see over here on the left side. And everybody asks me how I find all this crazy stuff. But you see, well, dadgummit. So right here, on this side right here, there's your little washout. You come around this corner, you got riprap right here, and then you can see where the waves actually wash up onto the bank. And everything else, pretty much you can sort of just see how it goes in. You've got your structure out here, but you can see pretty much what's on the bank and what's laying there. What we're going to do is, looks like I'm getting a little bit of a breakup in the thing. I'm going to go ahead and continue doing with the setup. That way maybe we can get through. And if y'all got any questions, y'all can message me or call me. And most everybody knows my number on the support line there. The contrast, keep it on auto all the time. Let it do the work for you, and that's your best, pretty much, setup no matter what. Keep your contrast on auto. On your advanced, your surface clarity, what I would do is I would go ahead and run that on high, medium to high, either one. I know pretty much I usually run mine on medium. Sometimes, depending on what the weather's going on, what the water's looking like, I'll run it on high. Noise rejection, you're only going to have this option in the 3D. I usually run it on low to medium, and that gives you a couple different options there. Just you can pretty much flip it on, flip it off, and see, you know, what benefits you. See how it reacts to it. Now, the palette that I use, and I know everybody knows this, and I've done a lot of videos on this. The standard palette, if you're doing a overcast day and you're running pretty much a standard, you know, overcast, no sun, everything else, the tan palette or number 8, either one, is going to be the best palette for low light conditions. If you're in the bright sun and you're actually looking pretty much and having a hard time pretty much, you know, seeing different things, number 9 is the palette to go. Number 9 is the palette that I actually use 99.9% of the time. That's the palette I would keep it on. You can flip between the two and see pretty much right away the difference in picking up fish and being able to watch everything. Other than that, that's really the basics of setting a unit up. This will work on all HDS systems. The Gen 1s and the Gen 2s, you're going to actually have to go into your menu and go to settings to get to some of these settings, so it's a little bit different than the touch units. The actual Gen 2 touch is just like this. The Gen 3s are just like this. Everything else that we have talked about today pretty much is really self-explanatory. If you guys have any questions, you can message me. I have a Lowrance tips and tricks. Hold on, just what I'm gonna do is you can message me on Facebook, you can message me on Instagram, shoot me a text message or whatever you need to do. Everything pretty much with the events this year, I'm gonna be running support at most of the events that I'm fishing. We're gonna get everything set up and ready to go. I'm gonna scroll back through real quick and see if there's any questions, and go from there. Just hold on just a sec, guys. Juan, you gonna blow me up and then actually ask me a question on here? I see how you are. Man, the shallower grass setting. Juan Ruiz wants to know about the shallower grass settings. So basically, he's fishing Okeechobee, he's fishing Toho, he's fishing all the Florida lakes down there. So if you're fishing a grass lake, what you need to do is you need to sort of, you know, set your graph up for that. And what that's going to entail to do is I'll have to do a live feed on the water to really tweak one out and see how it's actually reacting. Whether it's eelgrass, Kissimmee grass, whatever type of grass it is, whether it's actually, you know, hydrilla, gator grass, you know, all the different types of grass react different on this graph, and you can tweak the sensitivity to go up or down, and you can change the color palettes, you know, to work with that. One of the new things that pretty much that I'm going to be doing a video. I've got about 30 videos that I've done that have not been published. It's just been a crazy last couple months with getting all this other stuff done. But one of the things that I've got coming out is on the new Insight Genesis of all the vegetation colors and everything else when we're in Florida every year. I can actually highlight all the vegetation layers and either show them as whatever color I want to show. It'll show them, and then that way I can pretty much eliminate a lot of dead water right off the bat. So I'm going to switch us back around here, guys. There may be a little light in our eyes. Okay. So, while I'm sitting here thinking about anything else, has anybody else got any questions while we're sitting here looking? Okay, I got two questions here, guys. Jonathan Carter, have I got a screenshot of some fish holding on a brush on side scan? Let me look real quick. I probably do if I've got a screenshot of it. Let me flip you around here. That's a boat. I don't even want to see that. Let's see what this one is. Okay, so it's not really a brush pile, but I've actually got a fish holding on a stump here. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to try to zoom in on it here. That white slash mark right in the middle there, right there, is holding off part of a stump. That's a fish actually right there. Let me zoom out a little bit. I don't know if I can show you this other one. It's tough to see. It's not going to focus for me. Jonathan, I'll send you some pictures online, bud. Alright, Thomas Carter, what is your opinion on running split screens with chart and structure scan 3D? Well, Thomas, the big thing about that, when you run dual units, I don't know how many people actually run dual units. On this unit over here, I run chart, sonar, down. Over here, I actually run either the side scan or the 3D. So with having the 3D set up, what I would actually do is if you were going to create a screen to actually run, if you only got one unit, let me show you the easiest way to run that unit to be able to follow your line. So I would grab structure, chart, and sonar, and I would actually go up here to the top and make sure you've got a wide bottom, and you want to pull your structure down to the bottom, pull your chart to the left. So what you've got is now you've actually got this display right here set up, which is the same thing I'm running over here. So what you can actually do, so if you hit save, now you've actually got this right here. Now you can go ahead and pop 3D on, and it's going to go ahead and pretty much do its thing right here on the bottom, while you can follow your contour lines and watch sonar at the same time. That's going to be probably your best bet if you're only running one unit. If you're running two units, you can pretty much, it's pretty self-explanatory. You got plenty enough room to do everything. That's one of the main reasons I run 3 units. I run 2 here because it's invaluable to me. And that's what really helps me get to where I want to be. That way I don't have to keep flipping back and forth and go from there. So let me see what else we got here. We got one more person. Seeing one more back here. Alright, looks like I missed him, or I can't find it. One. If anybody else has got any other questions, anything else, feel free to message me. Do whatever you need to do to get in contact with me. I'm usually answering somewhere between 20 and 30 calls a day with support questions or with installing systems. It really just depends on what's going on. Hey Bill, how are you, bud? And go from there. That's really I'm trying to keep everybody as up to par as I can, but answering 30 or 40 calls a day gets crazy, plus trying to run a business and guide service, everything else. So anybody needs on the water classes, message me, holler at me, let me know. If you need to get in contact with me, it's 864-992-6362, and we can go from there. Also, Larry Gaines down at Lake Seminole is a good contact for any troubleshooting. If you need help down that way, he's closer to you than I am. Excuse me, guys. But hit me up. Let me know if you need any more help. If I can do anything to help. Keep an eye out on YouTube. I've got a lot more videos pretty much coming out. I just have not published them yet. And but like I said, if I can help anybody, just let me know. Thanks for watching, guys.